Hi, intrepid viewers, trendsetters everywhere, wherever you are. So, I'm really hoping those of you who were affected by the floods, I hope you're being able to, get on with your cleanups and all of that. I feel for you. Don't worry, I'm safe. I've been getting a lot of emails and comments. I'm safe where I am. But I do feel for you guys, okay? And I just want to say that straight off the bat. Okay, now, the GOP. The question was raised during the week. Are they crazy, stupid, or evil? Interesting question, I thought. So I'm going to throw it back to you, intrepid viewers. In the comments, what percentages do you think? What percentage of crazy? What percentage of stupid? What percentage of evil? To get to 100%, because they sure as hell are a mixture of those three things. So there's a little diversion for you during the week as we get ever closer to the events. Now, I wanted to have a look. I'm sure most of you would have seen the Roger Stone video in the car going, if Trump runs again, he's going to get his brains beaten in, or words to that effect. Nice man, Roger Stone. Now, he also knew he was being filmed because there has been this, little independent film crew following him around. So out of all the people that Trump attacks, he never attacks Roger Stone. And what's that about? We'll just have a little look at that. Trump and Roger Stone. Does he have something on Trump? What is it? What's the dynamic between the Yeti and Roger Stone? Roger Stone. Oh. Stone is seriously upset he didn't get a preemptive pardon. We all remember, we all remember he should be in jail as we speak, but he did get a Yeti pardon. But he wanted a preemptive one so he could do all this ridiculous and illegal stuff for the January 6th insurrection. So he's really not happy. He feels he rallied the troops. This, I think, normally this is the people, but I think in this case, this is the insurrectionists. It was Roger Stone who got the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, who gave it momentum and stuff. He feels he did his bit. And he's also convinced he is the magician, that he is the most powerful person in this equation. Yeah, that's what it is. I'll get to that in a second. The moon, things are secret. So I think this is secret things between the Yeti and what's his face, Roger Stone. Stone knows, Trump knows, they know, but I think it is still secret to the outside world. And so far, the lid's been on the cup with this. But I think Stone's about to rip the scab off. What it is, I think, in simple terms, the Yeti is like any other bully in the playground. They're all very brave until someone else is stronger than them and puts them in their place, right? And Trump is nothing if he's not instinctive. And he knows that Stone is actually a harder man, a badder man, and a more powerful man. So he won't go up against him because at the end of the day, he's a wuss. I mean, really. So I don't think it's blackmail. I don't think so. I think we're just talking, knuckle dragging stuff in the playground. Really. Now, speaking of playgrounds, we all know, and we'll all be together, bonded in the hell that is the aftermath of the midterms. And by that I mean, you can imagine every nutcase in every race who loses is going to challenge the results. So the Dems really need to get out on the front foot in the next 2 weeks and preempt this and say, we're going to watch while every candidate that loses challenges this, and they're going to spend your money just as they did in Arizona and Georgia and stuff, to only find that, yes, they still lost. So this is like people like Carrie Lake and stuff. They're actually saying this is their new badge. I'm not going to concede. See, I've got the button. So there's several questions with that. How is that going to go down with the voting public, and how are we going to cope with it watching, So let me do a general read on challenges to this process. Because really the Dems need to come out and say there is a mechanism in place. If a vote is very, very close, there is automatically a recount. They need to stress the obvious and explain that it's their money that's going to be used for these abortive reruns. Right, so let's have a look. How big an issue will it be? How to deal with it? Let's have a look here. Because it's the elephant in the room, isn't it, really? Okay. Looking here. Yeah. Love it. Oh, these cards are extraordinary. Absolutely extraordinary. Oh my God. If I was using this as a tarot exam question for new readers, not that there's such a thing as a tarot exam, but you get my point. These would be the cards I would put in there. Right? Why? At the center, confusion. So that's confusion about the result, but more so confusion about the processes and just confusion. Also, lest we forget one of the other illusions, which is delusion. These people, like the Marjorie Taylor Greens et al., are delusional. So you've got that right at the centre. They have to say, no recount. I think we're going to get very sick of this card. Which way is it going to go? They're not prepared. This is in their obstacle position. They're not prepared to walk away. And don't you love it? They're like 8-year-olds. If I win, it's okay. If I lose, the game stinks. Isn't that how the world works? Okay, so, it's that. Juggling and manipulation. How long can I string out my loss? Oh, I know, I'll just keep going and going and going, and I'll pull at the heartstrings of my voters who'll feel wronged, who feel they've had their vote stolen from them. Oh, my God. Now, having said all that in such a dramatic fashion, none of this is a surprise. Of course they're going to do this. So I'm going to leave those cards and just ask, how should we cope? How is the best way? Notice I'm using the royal we here. I'm an Australian, I'm not voting, but I feel bonded to you guys. So how are Americans going to cope with what will inevitably be delays on this? That's the other reason you have to stay really fit and focused, guys, because it's not all Oh, we'll know everything at midnight on the 8th or the 9th or the 10th. Okay, got to be ready for the long haul. Okay. How to cope. What's advice from the universe in how to cope? All right. I'll stick together. Oh, they will try. All right. All right. We'll go with that. I can see how that's cosmic advice for you guys. Okay, bear with me. So the first thing to remember is to stay together with like-minded people. That might be physically or online. If you're a blue dot in a red sea and you're surrounded by magophiles, just quietly go off somewhere and go online. Stay connected with the people who get you and who understand you. Keep the faith. The sword of truth will prevail. Love that, piercing the crown. Okay, known in the tarot world as the cutting through the BS card. So, have to be patient, very patient for this to unfold. There will be scandals and dramas. You know, this is the Five of Swords. There's an element of ruthlessness here. They will be provocative. They'll be trying to get you to react, right? But the sensible ones are walking away from the aggressive nutter. And then outcome, King of Wands. Now, this is the more generous king, usually a card of leadership and sanity. It's not my Biden card, which is interesting. So I'm thinking perhaps someone will emerge. It could be a Jamie Raskin or an Eric Swalwell or someone like that. I think it is a man who'll keep people calm. He'll keep people calm and give you direction as it's unfolding. All right. So I think my best advice is it's time to actually protect yourself from all that. Don't watch those talking heads with all these crazy people railing. You know, really be very selective about what you watch and what you read. So, big ups to Nancy Pelosi. Still, as long-term viewers will know, I've been known to be a bit critical of our Nancy from time to time. Not heavily, but, you know, believing it's time to pass on the torch, you know what I mean? However, she held the nation together during that siege, you know. And you may or may not have seen Michael Fanone, who is, he's the face of those serving law officers on the day who got attacked with their own weapons. You know, he got tasered in the neck, had a heart attack, all of that's a miracle he's alive. He admits he voted for Trump at the last election. He was horrified by the insurrection and particularly being the subject of it. And he so admires Nancy. And she said she was the commander-in-chief on that day when that footage came out. Bless. Yeah, go Nancy. Anyway, now, so we've done stone. What else have we got here? Oh, messaging for messaging, the Dems messaging. This people have very short attention span. So the next couple of weeks is really important for the Dems to keep their message on target. Right. So most people are motivated by kitchen table issues. That's the kitchen and the car, right? So he's got to have something convincing about those things. You know, that we are going to get ahead of the inflation curve. we are going to insist that gas prices come down, and he could release the reserves in the next few weeks to make that happen, coming up with a plan that reassures people about those issues. So messaging. See, I don't think between now and then he should go in with the college debt thing, for example, because a lot of people, if you're living somewhere where no one in your family's ever been to college and most of the people you've ever met have never been to college, you sort of think, why those guys chose to go to college, now they've got this big debt, why should I help? It's because they don't understand the terrible, really evil system of student loans. It isn't assistance in any way, it's extortion. So the smart way to talk about that is we are only supporting people who have already paid off their degrees, and in some cases more than twice their degrees. So we're apologising about the system that is so savage, you know. Talk to young people about that on the hustings, right? But don't go in expecting the average person who hasn't had a college education to be sympathetic to that issue, right? Just do it quietly. Which reminds me, what happened to the Dreamers being priority one? But anyway, I digress. Okay. Now, another matchup that's quite interesting is Chuck Grassley. I mean, really, I think, is it possible he was mummified in the 80s? Is he really still actually alive at all? I think they'd have to wake him up to wheel him out for his victory lap. I mean, he's been in since 1959. I was 4 when Chuck Grassley got in. I mean, really. So for the first time in decades, he's got a challenger. And the challenger is Admiral Mike Franken. So let's have a look at Iowa. Is there any chance that the people of Iowa could say, okay, we're not voting for the mummy anymore? Is there any chance Iowa could go to Mike Franken? Let's look at Iowa. Right, let's look at Iowa. Well, women and young people, look, it's the same story wherever you look, in a way. It's about how women are voting, and it's about how young people are voting and in what numbers. Centre is justice, so that says to me there is a sporting chance justice and sense may prevail. The root of the issue is women, and they are very focused on the pentacle here. Pentacles, I must remind you, are about, as in this case, not just money, but about our values. So women are looking at the values that are being represented by these two candidates. I think they like what they see in Franken. This is the Two of Cups. There's then the Page of Cups. Here are the young people. I don't know that they're tuned into a debate. I think they might. It depends. We're talking Iowa here. I think, like most races, this will be close. But I think this is a weird outcome card, and I'll have to pull another. The unwanted offer. So I'm really not sure what that's about. I think it's a close race because there's a lot going on about Franken winning over women and young people, but who will win? Let's put it differently. Can Franken win in Iowa? Can Franken win in Iowa? Oh, sorry, I should put down Page of Pentacles, Mace of Pentacles, Page of Wands, and the burden. Yeah, I think there is potential for him to take it out, but it's not straightforward. Younger, and when I say not just young people, meaning 18-year-olds, I'm talking probably, let's say 50 and under for young people here, talking about this, what needs to happen to re-energize Iowa. Because at the moment, I think this card of the burden isn't talking actually about Franklin as such. I think it's Grassley's become a bit of a burden, finally. So I'm going to say there is potential for him to win, but it will be close. And like so many, we'll have to see. But good luck to Admiral Franken. All right. Now, did you see during the week? I don't know why this shocked me. I'm rarely shocked, as you know, viewers. Eric Trump came out on whatever forum and format and said it's not the Republican Party anymore. It's the Donald Trump Party. Now, of course, he's going to say that. He's the son of. It's something we talk about on all our channels all the time. It has become the Donald Trump Party. This is the problem. This is the crisis that America is facing. We know. However, it was something about him just saying it close to an election like this. And I actually had to stop for a moment and think. It was a struggle, but I tried to put on the hat of being a centrist Republican who thought Trump would be okay, seen him fall over, want to see a bit more sanity. If I was center Republican, how do I feel by that statement? And in a way, it's truly shocking. But the upshot, I digress yet again. That if the midterms are lost to the Republicans, lost by the Republicans, they're really in a cleft stick and they'll be racing, breaking land speed records to get rid of the Yeti. And so we can only pray for that. But in the meantime, it is the party of Trump. Oh, yucky poo. Now, Kanye West, who has more money than sense, but Kanye West and Trump, like there's a meeting of the minds, isn't there? You could put them both in the room and you wouldn't get an IQ over 26. So Kanye, he's got no shortage of money, so he's going to buy Parler. Sorry about the Australian accent. I'm sure it's originally meant to be the French parler, and it's got, anyway, Kanye and buying Parler, because we all know, everybody knows, the world knows that Truth Social is a dog, and that's just how it is. So let's see, will Parler be any more successful? And because of the nature of the two people involved, I'm using the circus cards. So let's see. Okay. Knight of Wands. Oh, there's the Yetis in the world. Oh, that's funny. Okay. Sorry, but I'm having a bit of a giggle here. Oh, Wands. Wands have the element of fire, and they're about ego and identity, often the Wands. And you're dealing with these two huge egos. Actually, back to my first point about getting them both in a room, I don't think you could, because their egos wouldn't fit in the same room. have to get a ballroom. Anyway, here it goes. You've got Kanye as the Knight of Wands. You've got the Yeti here as the Emperor. But in terms of communication, the Trump desperately wants to be the King of Wands, because there's no point being an emperor if no one knows what you're doing or thinking, right? So it's one thing to have that power, but it's another thing to put it out there. Fire is very exuberant and putting it out there. They're both talking it up to each other, right? So Kanye's going, I've got President 45, coming on my show. So that's his ego being flattered. You've got the Yeti going, he's got more followers than anyone else, so it'll be great. But the world here with the Republican elephant balanced on this tiny little thing, I love this image, the world is laughing. I mean, people have already started laughing at the idea that, now this is the new venture between these two guys. So I think it's going to be really big news for 5 minutes and then gone. Now, moving on, I want to ask, I'm curious about the relationship between Putin and Musk. Elon Musk, I mean, it's one of my pet hates. I have to say this, intrepid viewers, of wealthy men who, in particular, who think we can destroy the planet. It doesn't matter. We'll just go to Mars. Oh, well, you won't go to Mars. I'll go to Mars with my rich friends. That's what it's really code for. And it's all okay. Hate it. Seriously hate it. Ow. So Elon Musk, on the one hand, he's been supplying satellites for Ukraine, big tick. Don't have a problem with someone getting their credit points up, awesome. But when I last looked at them, it also indicated that he was a bit of a messenger boy for Putin. So I want to just have an update on Musk and Putin. Will anything more come of their relationship? Will Musk be able to intervene meaningfully in Ukraine? Let's look at Putin and Musk one more time. I feel they're important at the moment. Oh, ultra interesting. Inversion. All right. How often do I get reversals? Like once a year? I mean, really, so it's interesting. The first one, right way up. This is, you've put out things overseas and you're waiting for the return on those things. See the boats? The guy has a telescope. What's the feedback? So I think Musk has said to Putin, I could do this or that or that. And he's waiting in a way for Putin's response. This is very hush-hush with the moon here. Queen of Wands was reversed. So that, I think, refers to, because the Queen of Wands, upright, very generous woman with fine leadership qualities, reversed, someone who's bossy and dogmatic and domineering. That would be, well, it could be either of these men, but in this case, Putin, who's literally hamstrung. I think Putin's not even, I just got a thing, not a victory. I don't think he's even looking for a victory now. He's looking for an escape, how to get out of this debacle and save face. Let me just do another pull here. I want to know, because NATO and everyone, you can be assured they'd have back channels going like crazy to Russia, trying to get a backdoor deal that they can then announce to the world. So even though NATO's putting on a tough face front of house, you can be assured Europe does not want to go into another armed conflict, and there would be dealing. So what else is happening? Will anyone be able to talk a truce? Will there be a truce? Will there be a truce? Well, yes, but not yet would be my vibe. Look, justice in the end will prevail. But here's the tension between Putin sitting pretty, which he isn't, but this is sort of the thing he gets up in the morning and pretends to be. It's all right. I've got everything under control. Bring me my generals. Oh, whoops, most of them are dead, So this is his face, his public face, still as the man who he's not backing down from the idea of the invasion. He's emotionally attached and invested in it. But he bit off more than he could chew. He rushed into the headwinds, not expecting Ukraine to stand up. Now, the next card is the Seven of Swords, the thief in the night. But I'm going to put a bit of a different spin on this. Swords, amongst other things, can be ideas. So I think it could be ideas being stolen in the night. So it could be like someone almost gets a deal across and then it gets pulled out from and away from them or something. Generals who are pretending they're interested in brokering peace actually aren't, because they're the guys like the butcher of Syria and stuff who aren't. Then you've got others who have to pretend they want a military victory when they actually want a peace. Do you know what I mean? This is very confusing, just as the real world is confusing with this. So I think there is a lot of dialogue, but nobody can trust anybody in these conversations. That's why it's not getting anywhere yet. But it'll become so expensive for Russia because he's only got two allies, China and India. They're not insignificant allies, huge, huge populations. However, neither of them think this is a good idea, Vladimir. So I think we'll hear of something hopefully by the end of the year. I don't see it any sooner. Would be thrilled to be wrong, to wake up tomorrow to find something's happened that's positive. But I'd say the end of the year, tipping into the new year, it's psychologically, no one would want that war to be going on into a second year. And it started, in February or something. So there'd be a lot of intense diplomatic pressure coming to play there. So, look, there's other things here, but I've run out of time. Beloved, intrepid viewers, keep me posted with your thoughts, your ideas, strategies. We've got to have lots of strategies, coping strategies. So I'll see you soon. Ciao for now. Ciao.